Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to the first edition of Beatdowns with the Boz. And in true Boz fashion, I've got a good old Abzan Aggro deck. So I know it's the end of the season, you guys probably think that you've basically seen it all, but I don't think anyone's been playing anything quite like this. True to the philosophy of a lot of my previous deck building, I have the most aggressive, most low to the ground, lowest converted mana cost deck that I could build, while still having a lot of power and a lot of card advantage. And I think this thing's actually, just a great deck that no one really found. Basically, the power that I'm talking about, it comes from, going huge with cards like Warden of the First Tree, but also all the creatures are generally oversized. I mean, Sylvan Advocate, it's a 2-drop that becomes a 4/5. It's almost like a Tarmogoyf. Not much is bigger than a Siege Rhino and Anafenza in Standard. Surrak can, hit people in the face real hard, and there's no creature that's going to be so big that it can't trade with a Deathmist Raptor or an Ayli. So in addition to that, it can be also a really good deck at snowballing, which is nice because one of the most important things about having an aggressive deck is even if you haven't won the game on turn 4, you want to make sure that you're basically so far ahead that you've guaranteed your win. And so the big snowball cards are Anafenza, just putting counters on stuff, and then Dromoka's Command. Things can really snowball with that. Being able to, build power and toughness on your side of the board while diminishing your opponents is a really big deal. And when you're on the front foot, Dromoka's Command can lead to some really big blowouts inside of combat. So that's a lot of the power and the flexibility. Also, in terms of flexibility, the converted mana cost of this deck is the casting costs of this deck are pretty sweet. So Warden of the First Tree does a great job of just making sure that no mana goes unused, but also Bearer of Silence really does that too. When I don't have a 2-drop, I can cast it on turn 2. A 2-mana 2-power flyer isn't great, but it's a lot better than having nothing. And if I go turn 2 Bearer of Silence and a turn 3 Anafenza, that's getting the ball rolling. But also Bearer of Silence ends up being a nice mana sink. Also, I have 5 creature lands, which not only ensure that I don't flood out, they're basically like card advantage because I'm playing 25 lands, but 5 of them are creature lands. In most long matchups where card advantage matters, those creature lands are going to be worth a whole card. And so it's almost like I'm playing a deck that only has 20 lands for purposes of flooding out. You also get a little bit of card advantage from Den Protector and Deathmist Raptor, which a lot of people have seen, but Bearer of Silence ends up being a nice source of card advantage. It also gives me a good way to deal with creatures that I may otherwise have a hard time dealing with. For example, Ugin, gets killed by Bearer of Silence, and it is generally just a card that a lot of people don't see coming, which is really sweet. And it's a great play on turn 4. I mean, if you play a creature and a removal spell on turn 4, that is great. So I think that covers basically the nuts and the bolts of the deck. The sideboard is probably a lot of what you would expect. Some Arashin Clerics, Flaying Tendrils for the hyper-aggressive matchups. Gideon when I need to go a little bit more mid-rangey. Kalitas and Wingmate Roc so that I can attack the Rally the Ancestors deck properly. A little bit of discard and a little bit of extra removal to kind of round things out. Make sure that I have a lot of good options. One other thing that I also just want to mention about this quickly is regarding the mana base. So if you note, I only have 4 Windswept Heath, and I only have 3 basics and 1 battle land. I've really haven't liked the whole fetch land, battle land package if you're looking to play a bunch of creature lands. Most decks are not able to play 5 creature lands the way that I am, and a lot of that is because I just realized that the pain lands should be back in fashion, and that makes the creature lands a lot easier to play. It also is what enables this Bearer of Silence to be good. So I think that basically covers it. Pretty pumped for the first episode of Beatdowns with the Boz, and hopefully you have some sweet games and I show you guys some cool stuff. So we'll be coming in with round 1 right now.